All right, so let's talk about something that completely changes your relationships, your self worth, and especially the version of your SP you experience. So, this is Jenni Ryan, and welcome back to my channel. If you want to be valued, if you want to be chosen, and if you want your SP to show up as the version you desire, you must become the person who prioritizes themselves first, okay? Because it's never about them, it's always about who you identify as, who you are being. So it's not to get them to change, not to get a reaction, not as a technique, but because that is the identity that naturally reflects a different version of them and also everyone else, okay? Because everything is connected to your identity, who you identify as. First of all, of course, I am. Right? I am the source of my own reality, and I'm choosing to experience myself through this identity. As within, so without. So your SP is not separate from your state. They are not separate from your identity, and they are not separate from the version of you that you choose to be. So most people misunderstand this. They think the SP has to change first, and they look for it. They look for evidence of that. They want that before they can claim who they are. They wait for the SP to suddenly become consistent, loving and attentive. They want them to prove something. You're looking for the evidence through the senses instead of internally. They want them to show up in a certain way so they can finally feel secure. But here's the truth. You cannot experience a new version of your SP while identifying as the old version of yourself. Everything they do is filtered through who you are being. If you identify as someone who is not valued, your relationships will mirror that. If you identify as someone who is not enough, your relationships will mirror that. If you identify as someone who is waiting to be chosen, the SP mirrors the version of themselves who does not choose. Okay, so do you get that? It's not about them. It's them showing you they are only messengers, right? And Neville Goddard talks about this all the time. People are only messengers showing you who you are. Now, it's not because the SP has power, it is because your state of being is the lens through which you perceive them. This is why prioritizing yourself is not about pushing the SP away. It's not about giving up. It's not about saying you do not want them. It's about choosing the version of you who naturally sees the highest version of them and others. Because the moment you shift, the mirror shifts. So let me give you an example. If you believe your SP is inconsistent, you energize that version. It's what you will see. You look for it unconsciously, probably, but you're still looking for it. You're expecting it. You react to it. You assume it. And without realizing it, you keep selecting that timeline. You keep animating that version of them through your own self-concept. But if you become the version of you who is valued and centered, you no longer relate to the inconsistent version. It doesn't make sense to you. It's just not even compatible. You do not feed it. You do not engage it. You do not assume it. You become the self who naturally perceives and receives a stable, loving version of them, because that is who you are. That is the version of you that you're giving to yourself. So it's not, you didn't change them, and it's not about changing them. You changed who you were being. The mirror has no choice but to shift. So this is why prioritizing yourself is not a strategy. It's the cause. It is the root. When you choose yourself first, you stop needing validation from the SP or stop needing validation from others. You stop overthinking their text, you stop collapsing into fear, you stop checking what they're doing, you stop worrying if they're talking to someone else, you stop walking on eggshells, and you stop molding yourself to fit their behavior. Instead, you stand in the version of you who knows their worth. And from that version, you can only experience the version of them and others who align with that. That doesn't mean that occasionally you might see the opposite, okay? But it's how you remain in that version of yourself where that experience will simply arise and dissolve in awareness. So people always ask me, how do I see a different version of myself? And the answer is simple. You become the version of you who would naturally see that version of them. If you were the one who is already prioritized, how would you interpret their message? If you were the one who's already chosen, how would you respond? If you were the one who is already valued, how would you move through the relationship? Would you be worrying about their every move? If you were the one who is loved, how would you feel inside? Okay, because if there's no love inside, there is no love outside. When you step into that, version of your SP that matches that identity is revealed. It was always there. So let me bring this even deeper. The SP, the other people, relationships are not separate from your consciousness. They are a mirror of your assumptions about yourself. You experience the version of them who abandons. When you doubt yourself, you experience a version of them who gives you reason to doubt. When you prioritize them over your own well-being, you experience the version of them who does the same. It's never about them. It's always about who you are being in relation to them. So when you decide to prioritize yourself, something incredible happens. You shift your identity. You shift your inner state. You shift your assumptions. You shift your energy. And you shift your center of gravity. And when you shift, your SP relationships cannot show up as the old version. They can only show up in alignment with the identity you are being now. So this is how you experience the loving version. This is how you experience the committed version. This is how you experience the grounded version. This is how you experience the version who cares, who shows effort, and who sees you. Because you are finally seeing yourself. You are no longer the seeker. You are no longer the one hoping to be chosen, because you are chosen. You are no longer the one abandoning your needs. You are no longer molding yourself around old patterns. You are the one who knows their worth. You are the one who chooses themselves. And you are the one who stands in the truth. You are the one who embodies fulfillment instead of searching for it. And there's ways that you can actually do this by, instead of waiting, sitting around trying to manifest them, get out there and live your life. Have conversations with other people. Doesn't mean anything other than that it's a way to practice to see yourself in relation to others so that you can actually see a new identity. Because while you're remaining only focused on someone else and remaining kind of in hibernation, you're not experiencing yourself. You can imagine it, but to actually experience it helps you transition faster into that new identity. And the SP reflects that identity back without you needing to force anything. Remember this, you cannot experience a different version of your SP until you become a different version of yourself. And when I say become, I mean unbecome the version of yourself that you've created. Not through effort, not through trying, but through choosing. Choose the version of you who's already loved. Choose the version of you who's already priority. Choose the version of you who's already valued. Choose the version of you who's already whole. And watch how naturally your SP rises to meet you. Other relationships rise to meet you. Not because you changed them, but because you finally remembered who you are. So this can also explain the whole a lot of people get hung up on the whole free will concept. Or, others have free will in their own reality. Yes, they do, but there's different versions of reality, and other people are only ever reflections of you. Okay? So if you are ready to become the one, or recognize that you are the source of love, you are already valued, you are already chosen, you're ready to focus on yourself, all of my links are in the description below. I highly recommend. I know I don't promote it very much, and I should do, because the course I have on Unbound Love is very in-depth. There's a lot of work in it, so there's a lot of self-reflection work in it. It's got a workbook on each module, as well as a video with reflective questions. So if you prefer to work on your own without having someone mentor you, you can choose that option. And all of my links are in the description below. You have an awesome day.